Thank you, Anouk. And Mary T, thank you very much for that speech. I have to tell you, Mary T, and this is something that is a common piece of feedback to you, is that the speeches that you give are extremely energetic. There's lots of energy, and specifically, you have a lot of vocal variety. I want to point out your vocal variety specifically because you have a lot of energy. And I'm going to give an example in a moment, but then you also bring it down a little bit and you bring the tone down. So it's not like it's full energy all the time, like you're going full speed, 100 miles an hour. You then slow it down to turn the curves as you need to turn the curves to steer the story where you're going. You do a great job with doing that. There are a couple things I'd like to comment on. So one thing I mentioned about is your energy, and you used the example of the horse standing by, I believe it was standing by a tree, and then a bird flies out, and there's all this commotion. And what is the horse thinking at this time? It's a great example of how you use your vocal variety and your energy to demonstrate a point. Great job on that. Now, there are a couple things that I would like to suggest for future use. One is I saw that you had the photo of the horse. I'm not sure which way it would work on the screen, but you had the photo of the horse behind you. I love that. That's great. And you used photos throughout the speech. And when you did that, though, your shoulder was kind of cut off on the side. It was like you're staring off to the edge like this. And not all the time, but some of the time, that's what happened. And that's something that we'll get more accustomed to as we use Zoom more and more. It's like the body positioning when you're using that screen for images. So that's one thing I wanted to point out. Another thing I wanted to point out was during your speech at one point, it seemed like you might have lost track a little bit. You still got your message across, but I think you might have been stumbling for the words just a little bit. And one thing I would suggest at this stage, if you get into a place where your mind just kind of loses track a little bit, is either pause and try to collect your thoughts back again, or sometimes it would work to have a go-to phrase. And let me explain what I mean by that. If I were to lose my place, let's say that I have a quick story that I always have at the tip of my tongue, like, gosh, September's always remind me of the leaves changing colors. I just love how those leaves turn amber colored every September. And then that somehow that triggers you to get back onto where you need to be in your speech. That's just one example I just came up with off the top of my head. But something that is a story that you say, even just a few brief words to get you back on track. The last thing I want to comment on, Mary T, is how you approached this project. The project was about defining leadership styles, and you did that in a very unique way. I loved it, how you addressed it with almost like leadership styles through a horse. And there are a lot of analogies you could have with this, and you could probably run with the speech for a long time if you had more time to do so. Congratulations on accomplishing the project, and good job on delivering a fantastic speech today, Mary T.